Hi, and welcome to video number 7. In this video, you get to learn about pre-launching and building curiosity. You see, building curiosity will help you build momentum and increase your conversions and your sales. And that's why we're going to talk about this in this video series. First of all, let's talk about pre-launch. Now, this works for both online and offline, and I'm going to give you some pointers that work offline and some pointers that will work online, but generally this whole thing works pretty much online and offline. Let's talk about free versus paid content. Now you're probably wondering, how does this all fit into the pre-launch? Well, free content helps build curiosity. For example, if you think about, if I had a online video marketing consultant business and I had a free video that showed people maybe tips on online marketing in relation to videos and what people could do, and they gain enough that they know what to do, but they just don't have the time to do it, so they hire me. So this type of stuff will help you build a relationship with your prospects who don't even know you, but after you teach them stuff, then they'll feel like, wow, I've learned a lot. I could have paid somebody else, but I got this information for free, and now I have trust with this person who's giving this content. So that builds curiosity. So you could have a video, 2 videos, 3 videos, 4 videos. You could have ebooks and so forth. But I will tell you this, videos definitely do help, especially nowadays with so many people watching YouTube and things like that. So videos is a lot easier than having to read content. However, the content is good and it's a short report, then you can write it in a short PDF file. Now, the content has to be something that people are willing to pay money for. If people are willing to pay money for the content, but you give it to them for free, that is valuable. Or if you're going to sell something, you could sell something that's worth maybe $500 or $1,000 for 90% or more off. If you tell them that, if you say, I normally charge $1,000 for this consultation, but you're getting it for free in this video, and you're building a list from that, then you're building momentum, you're building curiosity and doing a pre-launch for your consulting business. Now, pre-launch does not have to be like a one-time thing. It can be an ongoing thing depending on the person who gets to your site. There are several ways of going about doing this. You could have something that's for free, and then after maybe a few videos of free, valuable stuff, you present them with an offer that adds to that, like consulting. Let's say, for example, that I have several videos on video marketing, video consulting, and things of video marketing, how to do this, how to do that. However, I'm specifically targeting local business owners that don't have a lot of time. So they're not really looking for consulting. They're looking for kind of consulting plus a done-for-you service. So in that case, I can have a video specifically targeting these types of people. So as you can see here, that's another tip. You can have different videos for different people. Another thing you can do is you can have a valuable low price product. Like a $17 or $27 product. And then in order for somebody to improve, to increase their sales and increase their marketing, they need to seek out consulting. But because you've already given them a paid product at a low price, they're going to seek out your consulting advice. With consulting, then you can offer them either a done-for-you service, or they could do it on their own. Let's talk about the power of webinars. Now, I'm not going to dive too much into how to create your webinar and things like that, but I'm going to show you different webinar software. So technically what I'm doing here is consulting you and showing you that you can use webinars to do pre-launching and to build curiosity. Now, as you can see here, I've created a mind map chart. And in the middle, you see a blue circle that circles prospects. Now, these are the people that come to your website. What do you do with these people? Well, there are 3 different routes in terms of webinars that you could go for. Now, they could be actually 2 parts go for webinars, 1 part goes for free content, paid content, and then consulting. So we've previously talked about this. However, with webinars, if you don't know what a webinar is, it's basically like you go to a conference, but it's online. And with webinars, it's great because once you create your first webinar, you can do a rerun over and over and over again. Okay, so let me explain this in a little more detail. A prospect comes to your website. You can offer them a free webinar, but they have to sign up for this date and so forth. So they sign up for that date. They get to the webinar. You're teaching the webinar. It's pretty much like a video. You're teaching all this valuable content, and at the end you say something like, hey, I'm only letting this amount of people get my consulting services, or you've learned this much, now I can help you go further with this consulting services, and you can provide a done-for-you service as well. Or if you just wanted to make it really simple, you could have a free webinar plus a limited offer consulting. You could say, normally I consult people for $500, but for the next 10 people, I'm going to consult you for an hour for only $250. So in that case, you can really use these webinars as a means to pre-launch, build curiosity, and most importantly, convert prospects into clients, into future clients. Now, let me show you a little more detail about the power of webinars. And you see, you can create webinars one time. Let's say you create that one video that one time. But after that, what do? You have to redo the webinar? Do you have to stay there and do another webinar over another webinar? No, you can create one webinar and you can automate that same webinar over and over again. Now, what kind of webinar software should you use? What kind of webinar replay software can you use to automate your webinars? Well, in just a minute after the slide, I will show you the type of webinar software that we recommend and the type of webinar replay software that we recommend, and that is available for you on the internet. Now, there's not a whole lot of replay software out there. There's a few, and I'll show you different options that you can go to. Now, we recommend that you use gotowebinar.com. You'll be forwarded to this page, and you can easily create a webinar within minutes without IT support. So creating webinars is actually very, very easy to do at gotowebinar.com. Now, what I would recommend you do is have that webinar run for the first time and have as many people come, ask questions, and so forth, because usually the questions that people ask are the same questions that other people ask. Once you have that, you've recorded this webinar, you can do what we call a replay. So you can automate your webinars for the future. And one site I would recommend you go to is livewebinarreplay.com. It's a software that was developed by Russell Brunson, and his software is actually very good. So I'd highly recommend that. And you can actually check it out for $4.95 trial as of now. But this is a good system to use if you want to automate your webinars. Now, if you don't want to automate your webinars, that's understandable, but you're losing out on money and you're losing out on a lot of time as well if you don't automate your webinars. Once you have your webinar created, and you can figure that out and go to the webinar site, and it's pretty easy to create a webinar. Once you have that webinar, you need to promote your webinar. And there's several ways that you can promote your webinar. Now, if you go to these sites and create the webinars, they're normally going to give you a subscription form for your webinar visitors so that they can sign up for a date and watch the webinar at a given time. You can go on Craigslist.com and post Craigslist ads. Now, you might be thinking, Well, how do I do that? Now, as you know, Craigslist doesn't allow you to go and spam their network, obviously, but you have to do it in a way that's discreet. So, let's say, for example, that you were offering a service, a marketing service. So you could go into Craigslist and look under maybe their video editing or video marketing, and or look for people who are that have a business and that are promoting their business. And you could contact them about their business and not sell them right away, and then find out more about their business and do that. Or if you want to skip that route, that's fine. There are other ways that you can go about promoting your webinar, like video marketing, things like that. Now, offline niche newspapers are a great way to promote your webinar, especially offline niche newspapers or offline niche magazines. Let's say, for example, that I'm targeting realtors. If I'm targeting a realtor, one cool tip is to focus on niches like realtor magazines or magazines that your high-end market reads. So if I'm focusing on realtors, lawyers, accountants, plumbers, so forth, I'm going to figure out what magazines they read or what magazines these small business owners read so that I can target them, offer them valuable content for free, offer them valuable videos for free, and use webinar replays to automate the process. So you could be setting up, 2 webinars per week, and having created one webinar, spent that time, automate the full process, and make money through just purely webinar replays and automation. I know consultants that make a lot of money with webinar replays, and they save a ton of time. Just because if you think about it, you create it once and you do it over and over again. You don't have to have an online conference or an offline conference every time you do a replay of that webinar. So that's the beauty of webinars, as you can see. So you can use that to pre-launch and build curiosity, and I can say that they are very powerful and really will help you increase those conversions.